Hello everyone, and welcome. I'm VelvettB, and thanks for joining me today for a build where we are building the Mourning Mist Manor. So, this is from the new Life and Death pack. I love this pack, having so much fun with it. It's quite interesting building in this section of Ravenwood though, which is the world that came with Life and Death, because it has a very distinct green shade to it. So the colors, no matter what you do on any house in any sort of shade, is going to be really green. So keep in mind that this is going to be a kind of a green shaded house. So what am I building today? Well, I am building a Life and Death and base game only home in Mourning Vale, I think it is, the neighborhood up the top of Ravenwood. And it's kind of like the haunted sort of creepy area, which is why it has that green lighting. And I think that's really cool. I have had so much fun with this pack. I love the build buy. I love the gameplay. I love Cass. So it is an all-round pack for me. I don't think we've had such a good pack since... I love growing together, but I feel like some of that stuff should be kind of base gamey. So I kind of feel like, best pack since Cottage Living. And Cottage Living is like one of my very, very favorite packs. It's just like awesome pack. And I think this is basically up there with it. Very good gameplay. I have been playing the Grim Turn, which is my Grim Reaper career playthrough. So if you haven't watched that and you do love watching a bit of gameplay, then that is out on my channel and you can have a wee catch up with that, because I think you'll enjoy it. I have lots of fun, we have lots of adventures, and you get to see Ravenwood and some of the things that you can do in there. So if you're not sure about the pack and you want to check it out, then that's a good way to do it. Just watch somebody else play and be like, oh, actually, you know what, that tickles me fancy, you know. I had trouble with the roofing. I'm gonna say that the roofing, I created this weird shape for the house and I just don't know what I was doing. I was just making it hard on myself, and so I just changed it. I was just getting a little bit, I don't know what I was doing there. I really just don't know. So anyway, just creating like some little round balconies around the back. It's possibly not really in the style of what the rest of Mourning Vale is, but this is just what I did, and I had fun with it, just doing something, a bit creative, a bit different, a little bit more of a traditional style. I feel like the styling of the houses is a little bit more of a traditional look to them, which I think is cool. So it's quite interesting because a lot of the furnishings that we got for this pack were actually quite modern. So it's kind of like a more traditional exterior where you've got a more traditional interior. So quite interesting. And obviously I've got the limitation of only having the 2 packs in this one. So, you have to get a little bit creative with it, make some decisions. And this build in terms of the color kind of evolved, because I was sort of flitting around with the stone and I was like, you know what, this reminds me that I actually wanted to build with this particular roof here that I've just chosen. It's actually, when you look at it in a different light, it's got quite a pinky kind of hue to it. It's like kind of quite dappled. It's got grey, pink and blue. And it's really pretty. And when I saw that roof swatch, I was like, you know what? I actually really want to build with that. So that was actually what sort of inspired the color of this build, because I know a lot of the builds are sort of whites and like the oranges and stuff, or they're quite dark. And I decided, you know what? I'm just going to go in a completely different direction. And I'm going to go pink and white and grey, as you do. It's not like a violently bright pink or anything like that. It's quite a subtle pink. I think partially because we are in a really green lit zone. But also it's just a real subtle pink at the end of the day. So I think that was really cute. And I really like the windows that we got with Life and Death. They can be a little bit challenging in terms of where to sit them height-wise. I have found that I've had to fuss around with them a little bit just to really find out what the best height is to sit them, because it's a little bit deceptive, because some of them have like quite a bit of design on the outside, so it's a little bit deceptive, the window from the outside to the inside, if that makes sense. So it might sit at a certain level when it's inside, but then you sort of look outside and it's like sits a little weird, or vice versa. So it can be a little bit tricky, I think, placing those windows sometimes at the right height. So you do kind of have to play around with those a little bit. I did a nice chimney down the side, and I'm using the stone from Life and Death and on the chimney and on the front. No, hang on. I'm using, with Life and Death, you get a brick, which is what I've used on the chimney. You also get a stone, which is what I've used around the front. And there's also like a clapboard. I think it's like, pretty sure it's like a slabbed concrete or something, I think is what they say it is. But it kind of looks like a clapboard. So yeah, you kind of got that as well. And then you've got, actually you do get quite a lot of wallpapers with this game. It's quite good. And there's like a little, there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 4 wallpapers for the inside as well. So yeah, heaps of swatches. So fortunately with Life and Death, you actually get some ivy. So that's good. I actually wanted to place some ivy around the place and add a little bit of greenery against it. And, you know, just like it's a older home that's kind of a little bit overgrown in bits and pieces. And as you can see here, I'm just going to add some ivy to the roof as well. I'm going to be really honest with you guys. Adding plants to roofs is not my favorite job to do. And I know from like if you're playing inside the house, I am conscious of the fact that it can be like that because you have to lift them up. They can be a little bit annoying when you're doing gameplay, having plants on the roof, like some plants, like those plants around the front, you'll see those when you're actually inside the house. So I do often avoid doing roof plants on the roof for that reason, and I know lots of people do them and they do look super cute, and that's a good reason to do it. But I am conscious of the fact that it's not the best for gameplay, and also it is a little fiddly to get them placed. So you know, I don't always do them, and that's kind of the reason behind, one of the reasons behind it, and it's just not always my style of building, you know. But you know, sometimes I do like to extend myself and do like something a little different. So this is what I did today, something a little different. And I don't mind like ivies up the wall and that sort of thing. I do those quite often, but it does depend on the build. And because if I do like to build like a lot of modern stuff, as you guys might know. So you don't always use like a lot of roof plants and ivy and that sort of thing in the more modern builds. So not to say you can't, just not that you do that often, or that I do that often anyway. It's more when I'm sort of doing cottages and more traditional style builds that I might go in that direction. And it works. It looks cute. You know what? I did this landscaping kind of half backwards because I did it and then I was like, you know what? I kind of want a fence. So I got all this landscaping in place, and then I decided that I wanted a fence around there, and then ended up having to move stuff around because I put this fence in. And yeah, the moral of that story is put your fence in first, folks. Do the landscaping after that. Oh dear. Anyway, you know, you just do these things sometimes, don't you? Sometimes you just don't realize that you want to do a particular thing until you do the thing, and then you get to think, oh yeah, you know what, I want to add this thing afterwards, and then you end up having to move things around, and you could have saved yourself a lot of time if you'd done things in a better order or in a better way. But it is what it is. Not like it took ages to fix or anything like that. I'm just changing the color of the fencing. I decided the gold kind of worked a little bit nicer with the house rather than having the black. I was kind of trying to avoid black, if that makes sense, because of just such a light house, and I felt like black probably wasn't going to be the right color to go with how this house is. And then I lifted up the foundation. This annoyed me, and then I had to fix up all those plants that I'd spent time putting up on the roof because they didn't go up with the rest of the house. Like the other plants around the rest of the house did, but those ones didn't. I was like, what? Anyway, as you do. So just about finished on the landscaping. I didn't do a whole heap on the yard because there wasn't a whole lot of space in the yard. This is, ooh, what size lot is this? I think this might be a 30 by 30 or a 30 by 20. I think a 30 by 20. I don't know. Next time I see it, I can tell whether or not it's square or rectangle. Actually, that might be the 30 by 30 lot. Oh, who knows? Anyway, it's a small lot. There isn't any 20 by 15 lots in Ravenwood, so yeah, it's either going to be 30 by 20 or a 30 by 30. and just added a little play area for the kids, little garden area, some more trees. As I said, there isn't a lot of yard space. Oh, and I did like the cloud gazing blanket that you got with the life and death pack as well, so you can lie out there and do a bit of cloud gazing as well, and maybe, you know, hang out with Grim Reaper, something like that. You never know who you're going to find as a romantic companion in Ravenwood. You know how it is. So this is going to be a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, I believe. So it should be a pretty good space for kids as well as, a kid as well as the adults, or adult singular. You can go with a couple or you can go with a single in here. Either or. So you would fit about 3 Sims. If you wanted to put a bunk bed into the single room instead, then you could fit 4 Sims in. But it is 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. So in the downstairs area, this is me just working out the lights. I really like these lights. As I said, it's quite interesting that a lot of the stuff on the interior, you get a lot of modern furnishings, which I think is really cool. But all of the wallpaper is kind of quite traditional-ish. And the flooring, I feel, is quite traditional-ish as well. But yeah, modern furnishing. So it's quite an interesting contrast. Like, you know, they've moved into an old home, but they have upgraded to a more modern look. Oh, I tell you what. So I was just sort of looking or deciding what I was going to do with the flooring, and this kind of evolved a little bit as the build goes on. Also the layout. This front area just took me a little while just to figure out how I wanted to do it, just because of the angle it's on. I wanted to make the angle in behind it, or the area in behind it, quite accessible and easy to use, because I wanted to put like the kitchen in behind there. So I really had to think about how that area sat, and like I didn't want to have like a weird angle going into the kitchen area, so then I kind of had to create like a bit of a weird angle going into the hall area. But I think it kind of worked okay. It was just like a little entrance area. I shoved like a coat rack and a chair and bits and pieces. So yeah, and then, as I said, this sort of the flooring evolved a little bit. So I ended up going with like a grayer swatch. I didn't realize that I wanted to go grey until I kind of did the kitchen, and I wanted to use like the pink swatches, like these dark sort of pink swatches that you get with the Ravenwood pack, with the Life and Death pack. And yeah, I saw that against the grey, and I thought, well, you know what, they actually look so much better with the grey. So yeah, that's what I sort of went with. So that kind of worked from the outside as well, because I kind of had grey and pink on the outside too. So that kind of reflected and came around to the interior in a sort of a roundabout way. So I was quite happy with that. Just adding a little bit of clutter to the kitchen area, because, you know, that's an area that does actually warrant a little bit of clutter around, because obviously, you know, you can't always put things in the cupboard, or you're too lazy to put things away, or, you know, there's stuff that you use all the time, and it just makes sense to have that out. Look at me remembering the rubbish bin. Woohoo! Good one, me. So yeah, so that's the kitchen area coming together. I'm just doing like the little entrance area. Yeah, as I said, the angle's a little bit weird with the sharp angle, but I didn't want to cut off that space in the windows with a wall, so I thought, you know, I'll just leave that. And then I'm just bringing in the matching dining table, just putting that on an angle to the side. I actually end up putting in, or changing this bottom space a teensy bit in a second, because you'll see I'm sort of looking at how to lay it out here. And I'm like, you know what, I'm going to create a room here. So this is going to turn into a bathroom. That little room right there. And then that sort of gives us a bit of a mixed kind of space, I guess, for the kitchen, dining, living. It's all very open flow, and I mean, it's in its kind of area, but it is kind of a little jumbled together as well. But all of those matching furniture, isn't it gorgeous? I love the matching furniture from that pack. It's just stunning. It is a shame, however, that there are no slots on those sinks to put items. And I don't think you can on the other, like the kitchen sink one either, which is a little odd. Like, not so much on the kitchen one, but definitely on that bathroom sink. There should be spaces for you to put like your toothpaste and stuff. So it is a little strange to me that there isn't a slot on those, because there's space for it. There's absolutely space there for it. So it's, yeah, it's a bit strange to me that there isn't a shelf slot on that, yeah, on that sink. So that's something that did kind of bug me a little bit, because it was like, it seems like an oversight. Like there should be some slots there to put the toothpaste on, because yeah, there really is space. But coming back to the living room, so I'm just going to do like a little TV area, and then a little area kind of around the fireplace, with some more of the couches as well, and just using that, it's kind of, yes, like a salmonish kind of pink. And then I'm using in the wood swatches of the furniture, there is like this pinky shade kind of wood, and that's what I've chosen to use throughout the house. So I did look at doing like the pinkish sort of side wallpapers, but by the time I had like the pinkish wood and the pinkish and the pink, sort of, you know, the salmon pink furniture, it was just way too much pink. But I think it's not an obvious pink, the wood furniture. Like you don't look at it and go, that's obviously pink. It's got a pink vibe, but it's not pink. So I think that kind of, you know, yeah, doesn't look like it's an over, you know, like I'm vomiting pink basically around the place. So yeah, so just adding like a few little curtains, obviously base game, a little bit limited in the old curtain choices, but we do what we do. I don't mind those sideways ones, they're quite nice. And I just created a little corner couch out of the couches that we had with Life and Death. Just bloop bloop on the corner, add some cushions, and off you go. So upstairs, so what have we got upstairs? So downstairs we've got the one bathroom, we've got all the living stuff, and then upstairs we've got 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. It, yeah, ended up shape-wise okay. So it's just like a little single bedroom and a larger double bedroom. Like the master bedroom is quite large, which is nice, and then just like a little simple bathroom up in the top level as well. So yeah, that's all good. And again, just keeping with the same sort of colors and themes. You can see me fixing up the windows there, because as I was talking about with the window heights, just working those out, I did, yeah, have a little bit of, no, not necessarily trouble, but it just took me a little bit just to flub around with them and get them at the right height that I wanted. Tell you what though, I really love those beds that we got with the Life and Death pack. They're really nice. Both of them. Like, I love the modern one particularly, with like this rose swatch. Gorgeous. I couldn't stop myself from using it. And yeah, the other double bed is really nice as well. I don't know why we didn't get a single bed. That's really bizarre to me. But anyway, they do that from time to time, like the Love Struck pack. I like, you know, so much of the build buy I absolutely loved, but it was a really bizarre mix of items. And sometimes they do that. It's just like some really odd choices, I think, with their furnishings sometimes with packs. But anyway, I'm overall pretty happy with it, gotta say. So this was like, again, I felt like there was an overflow, too much pink. So I was just kind of, the wallpaper was kind of bugging me. But you'll see that kind of evolve, I think, shortly. There we go. So ended up just going with white and then changing the furnishings to that pinky brown. And then adding a few bits and pieces around the place. So that just kind of, I felt, balanced the room a little bit more. I was a little bit worried that the couch wouldn't be able to reach the bed or the couch. That was just a little bit too squashy in there. So I decided to change that to the pedestal table. No, not pedestal table, console table instead. And put a few little bits of clutter on there, because obviously, you know, you want to add a bit of life to the room. Clutter is the way to do that. So just adding the lovely couch, and then a little coffee table thing. I'm using it as an end table. You know, it is what it is. And the lovely ottoman that we got with the pack. So then that brings us through to the single bedroom. This is one of those color evolving things. I just kind of had to decide on a color, and then it kind of was like, eh. Although I do love that wallpaper swatch. It is nice. But I decided to go with blue and do like a kind of like a little teen boy kind of room, teen or child, kind of a tween, maybe a tween, but just put some cute things in there. There wasn't much for kids really with this pack, which again I think is a shame, but it is what it is. but managed to fit a few things in there. And I mean, there's enough in base game that you can really get away with having, you know, all your bits and pieces in there for kids without worrying too much about what the rest of your pack requires. Just using some of the tarot art around the place, and then I was trying to decide what to do with this fireplace. I wanted to put a chair there, and I was like, but yeah, ended up just having the chair there, a little bit of a fireplace and a rug, and the fire pokers, and the rug, and that was about it. Then just switching around the art, and then I think it's just the bathroom left to do, and we are done with the build. So I kept it pretty simple, again using the pink swatches that we had, and one of those weird oversights. Why on earth didn't we get a new toilet? What have they got against new toilets? The last new toilet we got was from For Rent, and that was a squat toilet, and I don't like it, just from personal experience more than anything. I just have a personal grudge against squat toilets, I guess. But yeah, why can't we have a new toilet with that? Weird. Anyway, this is how the build turned out. Just sitting there, nice and cute. And we've got the greenery all up the side. And yeah, I think it's really nice. It is hard, as I said, to tell the actual colour. A, because I got a reshade on, but B, because of the green colouring on the world outside as well. So it does make it a little bit harder to really know what the colours are. But I think it's a really nice, cute use of the pink. I do love pink, and I do love building with pink. I don't always use pink a lot, but I wanted to actually play around because that pink is such a nice swatch that I wanted to actually play around with it and, you know, do a house with it all. And that works really nicely with the pink and grey that we did on the exterior with the house as well. So ended up working out really nicely. So I was happy with that. So that is the little boys' room there. Just got our big grim bunny, which I think is super cute. And this is the bedroom, the master bedroom. And I love that bed. Oh, such a good bed. It's lovely. Well, anyway, that's our build. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have fun, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.